देवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Please put this here. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Chapter 1, Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 22. This is a very important verse which Prabhupada quoted quite often. So, and try to memorize it if possible. Idam hipumsas tapasah shrutasya va swishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoh avidyuto kavibhirnirupito yaduttamaśloka gunanuvarnanam.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
I think someone is unmuted. You have to mute. Idam hipumsas tapasah shrutasya va. Let's do it a little slow because people are not able to pronounce it properly. Idam hipumsas tapasah shrutasya va swishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoh. There is long u. Suktasya. Avidyuto arthah kavibhirnirupito yaduttamaśloka gunanuvarnanam. Idam hipumsas tapasah shrutasya va swishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoh. There is H के नीचे जब डॉट रहता है ना, विसर्ग है आह, right? But point ये है कि if that visarga comes in the middle of the sentence, then you don't pronounce it fully. But if it comes at the end of the sentence, then you have to pronounce it fully. Just like tapasah shrutasya va, right? There you have pronounced half. Tapasah shrutasya va. But in the second line, dattayoh, after the ha sound, there should be o. Like the sound that comes before ha comes again after ha also. Like Krishnaha, Ramaha, Vishnuhu, because there it is u, u, so therefore Vishnuhu, not Vishnuha, Vishnuhu, Ramaha, Harihi, right? Ha se pehle jo aata hai, the sound that comes before ha, before the visarga, comes also, but only if it is at the end of the sentence. But if it is in the middle of the sentence, then you only pronounce up till the ha sound. Got it? So let's try it again, the whole shloka. Idam hipumsas tapasah shrutasya va swishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoh. You didn't pronounce the visarga properly. Buddhi dattayoh, like that. Swishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoh. Right. Avidyuto arthah kavibhirnirupito. It is artha, but the a is silent, so we don't pronounce. Avidyuto arthah kavibhirnirupito yaduttamaśloka gunanuvarnanam. Please repeat the synonyms. Idam, this, he, certainly, saha, of everyone, tapasaha, by dint of austerities, sudasya, by dint of study of the Vedas, va, or swishtasya, sacrifice, suktasya, spiritual education, cha, and buddhi, culture of knowledge, dattayoho, charity, avichitaha, infallible, arthaha, interest, kavibihi, by the recognized learned person, nirupitaha, concluded, yat, what, uttama sloka, the Lord who is described by choice poetry, guna anuvarnanam, description of the transcendental qualities of. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. Please repeat. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. Human intellect is developed for the advancement of learning in arts, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, economics, politics, etc. By culture of such knowledge, the human society can attain perfection of life. This perfection of life culminates in the realization of the Supreme Being, Vishnu. The Shruti therefore directs that those who are actually advanced in learning should aspire for the service of Lord Vishnu. Unfortunately, persons who are enamored by the external beauty of Vishnu Maya do not understand that culmination of perfection or self-realization depends on Vishnu. Vishnu Maya means sense enjoyment, which is transient and miserable. Those who are entrapped by Vishnu Maya utilize advancement of knowledge for sense enjoyment. Sri Narada Muni has explained that all paraphernalia of the cosmic universe is but an emanation from the Lord out of his different energies, because the Lord has set in motion by his inconceivable energy the actions and reactions of the created manifestation. They have come to be out of his energy and they rest on his energy, and after annihilation they merge into him. Nothing is therefore different from him, but at the same time the Lord is always different from them. When advancement of knowledge is applied in the service of the Lord, the whole process becomes absolute. The personality of Godhead and his transcendental name, fame, glory, etc. are all not different from him. Therefore, all the sages and devotees of the Lord have recommended that the subject matter of art, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, and all other branches of knowledge should be wholly and solely applied in the service of the Lord. Art, literature, poetry, painting, etc. may be used in glorifying the Lord. The fiction writers, poets, literatures are generally engaged in writing sensuous objects. But if they turn towards the service of the Lord, they can describe the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Valmiki was a great poet, and similarly Vyasdeva is a great writer, and both of them have absolutely engaged themselves in delineating the transcendental activities of the Lord, and by doing so, have become immortal. Similarly, science and philosophy also should be applied in the service of the Lord. There is no use presenting dry speculative theories for sense gratification. Philosophy and science should be engaged to establish the glory of the Lord. Advanced people are eager to understand the absolute truth through the medium of science, and therefore a great scientist should endeavor to prove the existence of the Lord on a scientific basis. Similarly, philosophical speculations should be utilized to establish the supreme truth as sentient and all-powerful. Similarly, all other branches of knowledge should always be engaged in the service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita also the same is affirmed. All knowledge not engaged in the service of the Lord is but a science. Real utilization of advanced knowledge is to establish the glories of the Lord, and that is the real import. Scientific knowledge engaged in the service of the Lord and all similar activities are all factually Harikirtana or glorification of the Lord. Idam hi pumsah tapasah srotasya va sushtasya suktasya buddhidattayoho avichitorthah kavihir nirupito yaduttama sloka gunanuvarnanam. Okay. Om Jnana-Tinmirandhasya Jnana-Anjana-Shalakaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadata Sabda. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shri Bhutale Vedanta Swami Kadamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Sarine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Vistarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Okay, so welcome everyone. After a long time due to Yatra, we were in Mayapur, and because of that, we could not have class for 2 weeks or so. And we resumed yesterday. And today we are discussing on a very important verse. And maybe you all can come a little forward so that I will be able to see everyone. You can come a little this side so that some bright faces are covered by others. Okay. All right. So there's a very, very beautiful, important point that is being described in this verse. That tapasaha sutasya va kavibhi nirobito. Kavi means what? Generally, we think kavi means a poet, but kavi is not just a poet. Basically, in Sanskrit, kavi means a wise person, a wise person or a learned person. So kavibhihi means plural. All the wise people, all the wise personalities, plurals. Nirupitaha. All the wise personalities, what have they done? They have proved. Nirupita means proved, shown, demonstrated, established. What? That arthaha, avichito arthaha. That means the real use of what? Of all these things. What? Tapasaha, sutasya, sushtasya, suktasya, buddhi, dattayoho. Of all these things. What are they? Tapasa means of austerities. Sutasya of learning. Suktasya means of sacrifices. Buddhi means use of intelligence. And dattayoho, what does dattayoho mean? Dattayoho, charity. Yeah. So of all these things, what is the ultimate purpose, the ultimate benefit of all these things, the ultimate perfection of all these things is Uttama Shloka Guna Anuvarnanam, that is to glorify the Supreme Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all branches of knowledge, all kinds of human endeavor, all branches of knowledge and activities. They are all ultimately meant for glorifying the Supreme Lord. Who has proved this? All the learned people, learned circles have positively concluded. Prabhupada says, translates. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose means what? Someone may say, oh, this is your opinion, that this is the purpose of all these things is to glorify the Lord. But I have a different opinion. Someone may say that, right? So it is your opinion that this should be used for glorifying the Lord. But in my opinion, they should be used to glorify me or for some other purpose. Right? Someone may challenge that. Therefore, it says avichuto artha, infallible purpose. Why? It can be established on a solid ground. Why? Because ultimately everything belongs to the Lord. And ultimately glorification of the Lord is nitya dharma. It is eternal. Like you may glorify your girlfriend, but after some time she'll become old. Right? You may use it for son's gratification, but that son's gratification will be finished one day. Right? You may use it for any purpose. You may use it for even nation building. Right? You may say, oh, my country is great, so therefore I will use all my skills and knowledge to empower my country. But what is a country? A country is just a boundary which you have, an imaginary boundary. Right? That is also, I mean, and you may say my language. All these things are transient. All these things are transient means temporary. So all these things are changing. So whatever purpose you achieve by that doesn't last. So since the glorification of the Lord is the only eternal thing, right? Just like if you are in the bathroom, the toilet, you may say the toilet should be improved, and you may spend a lot of money, a lot of energy to make the toilet look like heaven, right? People do that. But the thing is, the unfortunate reality is you have to get out very soon. You can't live in the toilet. You can only use it for some time, right? So similarly, or if you want to take another example, you can take the example of a jail. In a jail, you may want to improve the conditions, but jail is not meant to live permanently. Jail is meant to be a place of reformation, and jail is meant to be a place where you are supposed to what? Get out. Jail is supposed to be a place where you're supposed to get out. I mean, not illegally, but legally you are supposed to get out, right? And even the government wants you to get out because it's feeding you and investing so much money on you, just to maintain you. Even the government doesn't want to keep you in the jail. I mean, the only reason they keep you in the jail is because otherwise there will be disturbance in the society. Otherwise, even the government is not very interested in keep maintaining you in the jail. It's not supposed to be a place. Even the government wants to encourage the prisoners to reform and jaldi ravana kar do unko bahar. Even the government wants you to get out of the jail. Not like there's no shortcut to it. You have to follow the process. And if you're by your good behavior or something, if the jail authorities are impressed, then they also will be happy to release, right? So jail is not meant to be a place to stay forever or to permanently settle, so that you can improve the conditions and you'll try to make it a very beautiful place. So, or a guest house or something, It's not something, you don't invest time and energy, or a train compartment or something. You don't invest your time, energy, money, and resources to improve the conditions of that place. Why? It's not meant for permanent residence, right? But if it's a permanent residence, yes, you will definitely put a lot of energy in that. So point being that whatever purpose you may have in life, someone is working for the country, someone is working for family, someone is working for society, or maybe someone is working for future generations, someone is working for health, someone is working for economic development, someone is working for animal welfare, right? Or someone is working for low class people's rights, human rights, right? Someone is working for women's liberation, someone is working for child protection, someone is working for science, advancement of science and technology, someone is working for politics, correct? Someone is working for social reforms. But all these things are giving only a temporary result. They are giving only a temporary result. Even if you try to make the world a perfect place, or you want to build a perfect society, let's imagine. Many people have tried that, to build a perfect society. In the process, they only created more suffering. Like Karl Marx had the idea, I want a perfect society where everyone is equal, right? Karl Marx's idea, communism. They thought, everyone is equal, the perfect place. But the whole idea of communism has created the greatest violence in society. The maximum number of people died due to Stalin and Mao Zedong, right? More than even Second World War. More people died due to Stalin than even Hitler. So many people have tried to create a perfect society, but the world is designed in such a way that there has to be suffering. There has to be suffering. You can't avoid suffering. You'll make it so beautiful, so perfect, that everything is so wonderful, perfect. It's not meant to happen. It's not designed for that purpose. Just like, if you want to make the kitchen, you go to the kitchen. Kitchen is designed for what? For cooking. If you want to design the kitchen for sleeping, is it going to work? No, the entire design is different. Or if you want to design a toilet for cooking, it's also not going to work, right? So every place has a particular design which is meant for a particular purpose, to achieve a particular purpose. So the material world is designed not to stay happy. Material world is designed to make you suffer so that you can realize and get out and try to go to that ideal place, perfect place. So the entire efforts of these materialistic people is to try to make this material world a better place to live in. And it's bound to fail. Because by design and definition, material world is not meant for that. And you cannot make it like that. If you want to make a motorbike swim in the water, is it going to work? No, because it's designed to run on the land, not to go in the water. For that, you need a different design, right? So the material world has been engineered to be temporary, to give you misery more than happiness, and to be imperfect, full of problems. So that is a basic design of the basic engineering model that the Lord has created for this purpose. Now you cannot change the basic design, you know. So therefore, the intelligent circles have positively concluded that ultimately human endeavor, human intelligence, knowledge, and learning is ultimately meant to direct people to God consciousness. So that has been established very philosophically, very solidly, so that no one can argue against it. No one can argue against it. No one can say, "Oh, this is all your opinion, but my opinion is different." Okay, then if your opinion is different, fine, prove it. Prove that you can stay happy forever in the material world. Prove it. Experience shows otherwise. Right? Experience shows otherwise. Can you prove that you can eradicate old age, disease, and death, or any type of suffering? What is because of old age, disease, and death? You cannot even, what do you say? You cannot even make a perfect administration also. Show me one government which is perfect. People like to go to America, but if you go there, you'll understand. I mean, healthcare is so expensive. Healthcare is so expensive, so expensive. People can't afford it. Children, there's no protection. Actually, the irony is that the country which talks about child rights, there if you even slap a child, you'll go to jail. But there the children are all drug addicts because it's legal to use drugs. So is that child protection? That's the worst type of child abuse. So point is that, you can't find a perfect society, however much you may try to create Ram Rajya. Unless you go to Lord Ram, there's no Ram Rajya. Right? So therefore, it has been very scientifically, logically, philosophically, practically established that without God consciousness, there is no perfection. And even among devotees, sometimes we see, even after becoming devotees, sometimes people are, we hear in their lectures, they try to bring it down to a materialistic platform. I see that some devotees, although they understand all these things, when they give a lecture, they try to talk about leadership and or something like that. Of course, it's good if the purpose is to bring them to Krishna consciousness. Sometimes there are preachers who are very good at bridge preaching, what they call as bridge preaching. They try to speak about leadership skills or success, or gives a motivational talk. But they are very good preachers because their ultimate purpose is not just to give these things. The ultimate purpose is to bring them to the point of Krishna consciousness. And of course, these things are all valuable. Being a good friend, for example, or being honest, having integrity, and many such good qualities. They are useful. They are very helpful in Krishna consciousness. But it has to come to that point of Krishna consciousness. It has to eventually help them become Krishna conscious. So we see that sometimes devotees, when they speak about even on Bhagavad Gita or spiritual subjects, they try to just keep it very mundane. It comes to a very mundane level. It doesn't somehow connect with that absolute truth. So it doesn't bring the desired outcome of reading Bhagavad Gita. The desired outcome is to know God. That is the confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. In Gita, Lord Krishna speaks about confidential, more confidential, and most confidential knowledge. What is the confidential knowledge? Knowledge about the soul, that we are not the body. Because all other branches of knowledge ultimately are connected to the body, right? The body is temporary and it's not you. It's false. So therefore, the confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is what? That you are not the body, your soul, knowledge of the soul. But more confidential is knowledge about God, about Krishna. The origin of all the souls is the super soul, Paramatma. And the source of Paramatma is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is more confidential. But even more confidential, the most confidential knowledge is knowledge about bhakti or devotional service. The relationship between the soul and the Supreme Lord. So that is very important. Somehow we have to bring people to that level, not artificially. It may take time, but the ultimate purpose should be clear. If that purpose is not clear, then our endeavors are just on a very, very mundane level, and it will only produce temporary results, which will only keep them again in that cycle of illusion. They are expansions of the material energy. If you are not speaking knowledge, then what are you doing? India बोलने से लोगों को बेवकूफ बना. If you are not speaking knowledge, you are increasing the confusion. You are increasing the ignorance or confusion. You are making people more confused. Right? Better you don't speak anything. Because by speaking, you are increasing the confusion. You are increasing the ignorance. Unless you are speaking the perfect knowledge. Correct? So therefore, devotees have to understand this point. And that does not necessarily mean that anyone you speak to, okay, come, I'll teach you Krishna consciousness. Not like that. If you say you keep your Krishna consciousness in your pocket, I'm more interested in something else. Not like that. But through logic and through reasoning and, through your artful presentation, you make them convinced that actually you are not happy or suffering. You are not happy. So it's a fact. Even though you may think you are happy, that's the biggest problem actually. The biggest problem is that you think that there is no problem. That's the biggest problem. So to convince that, and then you bring them to the point of understanding, see, you are not the body and you should be Krishna conscious. In a way that works. So, but the purpose should be like that. Although you may not directly present it all the time. Sometimes you present it in a very artful way, like Narada Muni once presented to the Hari Ashwas. He didn't speak directly about Krishna consciousness. He gave an allegory. Through some allegorical means, he made them Krishna conscious. So similarly, there are very skillful preachers who present Krishna consciousness in a little different way, a radical way. They present Krishna consciousness through cooking classes. They present Krishna consciousness through yoga classes, dance classes, music classes. They present Krishna consciousness through science, Bhaktivedanta Institute. They present Krishna consciousness through art, storytelling, novel writing, movie making. Right? Every art and science or any branch of knowledge can be used and should be used. Since you are all intelligent people, you can think about it more deeply. How you can use science, art, and whatever talents you have in forwarding the message of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, after 50 years, you'll be dead and gone. And whatever you contributed also, no one is going to remember ever. It's not going to make any difference. Only difference is it will create more confusion. That's all. So better you use it for the right purpose. Thank you very much. I'll stop here. If there are any questions. Are there any questions? We have seen that many people are, somehow subconsciously they are still not convinced that material world is a place to get out of. They still try to make it a better place by trying to reform, bring some reformation in the society. What good? Of course, reformation is required, but the reformation is only good if it brings an eternal, permanent result. Otherwise, that reformation may come, but it's not going to stay. And it's not going to really make much of a difference either. People are still going to suffer according to their karma. It's not going to, you're not going to make much of a difference, nor is it going to last forever. So therefore, let's bring, of course, this does not mean we should be sectarian. It's not that, it's a principle. It's not just a sectarian concept. What I mean to say is that it's not that if you are only putting tilak, wearing tilak like me, you are bona fide. Otherwise, you're going to hell. Right? Or only if you worship Krishna, you'll go back to God. If you are worshipping some other form, then you're good for nothing. Or that if you are a Hindu, then you are good. Otherwise, if you're a Muslim or a Christian, then you're going to burn in hell. Not like that. It's a principle. It's a principle. To come to the point of God consciousness. Prabhupada said, if you are a Muslim, in one lecture I was hearing recently, if you are a Muslim, very good, be a Muslim. If you are a Christian, very good, be a Christian. Our proposition is not to convert. Our proposition is that you love Krishna. Very radical. So it may appear that what are you talking about? Be a Christian and love Krishna? How is it possible? We are saying that Christ is Krishna. We are a good Christian. So Prabhupada also said that it's not this religion is better than that religion. Whichever religion makes you a better lover of God, that is best. So by following Christianity, if you become a better lover of God, that is good. But problem is, God told you thou shalt not kill and you are killing so many people. You are not loving God, unfortunately. Practically, if you are loving God by following a particular religion, it's good. We should present it in a non-sectarian way. It's principle-based manner. Not that we are trying to convert anybody. But we are presenting Krishna because it is our realization that by worshipping this particular form, your attraction to God increases. But if you can follow some other process and derive the same result, that's also fine. We are not against worship of other forms of God. Ultimately, we want to see people develop love for God, love for Krishna. If you present it in a non-sectarian way, then other people of other religions also, they will accept it. Because you're not trying to make me a non-Muslim or non-Christian. You are trying to make me a good Muslim, good Christian by loving Krishna. Right? We should present it in that way. It's a science. If for a scientist, if a new formula or a new theory is going to solve a problem, it doesn't matter whoever that scientist may be, everyone will accept, right? They'll not say, oh, this formula came from that university, so we'll not accept. Only our university formula will accept. Nobody will say like that. So by accepting Krishna, by chanting Hare Krishna, and by reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, if you are able to develop your love for Krishna more, then why not? So like that. Stop here. Any questions? I already stopped, but again, yeah.
टेम्पल जय विजय भक्ति बड़ी टेंशन की होता तभी जाते पीठ वगैरह खाते तो पैसे के टेंशन की होती तो कैसे हो जाती है क्योंकि हाथ से आने वाले का है तो कैसे टेंशन इतना भी करना बड़ी टेंशन.
Well, that's what we should prove to them. That you, if you are a good Muslim, then you may go, but you are not good Muslim, unfortunately. Because you are, we have to quote from Quran itself to say that what they are doing is wrong. See, the ultimate teaching of Quran is to surrender to God, right? Islam means surrender, right? Allah means the greatest. So that principle is fine. But somehow you have misunderstood that process, and you are killing and you are doing so many things, which is not really going to help you in advancing. And we have to show it in a scientific way. We are not against a particular religion. We are against the breaking of principles. You are somehow, either your religion is not teaching you properly, or you did not understand your religion properly, whatever it may be. The problem may be in the religion itself, or the problem may be in your understanding of the religion. So it's not our business to attack that. Our business is to present the positive alternative. Right? But sometimes some religion itself may be flawed, like Jainism and Buddhism, right? The basic philosophy itself is wrong, because they don't accept God. In fact, Christianity and Islam are better than Jainism and Buddhism. Prabhupada said. Because at least Christianity and Islam, they accept God. Right? But Jain religion says that there is no God. And Shunyavad, everything is zero. I mean, that's a very... Of course, some of the things they accept is also true. That this world is full of suffering. That is fine. That is true. You are not the body. That is also fine. But they don't accept soul also. Buddhists. They don't even accept soul. They say it's zero. It's void. So it's a wrong philosophy. Right? So philosophically, ours is it's not just a cult. Okay, that we are Hare Krishna. So we are, not like that. We have philosophy. We have an understanding. It's a very logical and scientific philosophy. And we can debate, not debate out of ego to defeat the other person, but to establish the truth. We can debate. Previously, it was all settled through debate, through logic. It's not that I'm against you or I hate your religion or anything, but philosophically it doesn't fit. And if you want to prove that it is fits, then let's talk about it. So the point is, we are not saying that every religion is good. Not like yato mat tato pat. Every path leads to the same goal. Not like that. But there are some bona fide religions also. But they also have been misunderstood or misapplied, distorted, maybe like that. We should show that to them. There are 99 names of Allah in the Quran, and certain concepts, certain principles are ultimate principles. Ultimately, that you should surrender to God, right? You should love God. Of course, that is fine. That is perfect. Only thing is, they have somehow misunderstood some other concepts. Like one who does not accept Allah is kafir. That is fine. I also accept it. But what you don't understand is that Krishna and Allah are the same. So we are also worshipping Allah only. But you are somehow thinking that we are not worshipping Allah or somebody else. That is your misunderstanding. So we also say, no, the one who does not accept God, he is atheist. That is true. But they are also accepting God only, maybe in a different name. That you are not able to understand. And you are thinking he is also kafir. That is your misunderstanding. Like that. So anyway, point is that we are not here to unnecessarily debate, but we are not sectarian. At the same time, we don't say that everything is okay. We don't say every religion is okay. You are okay, I am okay, everyone is okay. One who says we are not okay, he is only not okay. But everything else is okay. Everything is right. If you say it is not right, if it is wrong, then only that is wrong. So say it is wrong. Otherwise, everything is right. This kind of we don't subscribe to that philosophy. At the same time, we don't say that everything is wrong, only we are right. Not like that. You have principles, and if you are following that principle and developing love for God, yes. Prabhupada was asked, Joan of Arc, she is a Christian saint, right? Christian saint, great devotee. Prabhupada was asked, is Joan of Arc's name is in the Bhagavatam? Prabhupada said, who was she? She was a great devotee who sacrificed her life for Jesus Christ. Prabhupada said, yes, her name is in the Bhagavatam, different version. Prabhupada was so open-minded. He was so he did not say that only in our sampradaya these acharyas are only pure devotees, others are all useless. Prabhupada didn't say like that. Prabhupada said if they are the great devotees of God, they're saints. Like that. But at the same time, you have to follow some process properly. It's not that okay, one day I'll be Christian, one day I'll be Buddhist, not Buddhist. one day I will be Ramanu Sampradaya, next day I'll come to Gaudiya Sampradaya. Not like that. You have to be loyal to your Sampradaya, 100% loyal to your tradition. Prabhupada was 100% loyal to his guru and the teachings. At the same time, he respected other traditions where there was God consciousness. When the azan was going on, Prabhupada was walking. Prabhupada stopped, stood for some time, and then he walked. He respected God consciousness in other processes also. But he was totally loyal to his sampradaya. All right. So, any other question? Any question? Yeah. Maybe it would have made more progress. What makes you think that it would not have made progress if you had been God conscious? The orientation would have been different. Orientation would not have been just to create machines and all. The orientation would have been to create a society where it's easier to be God conscious. Advancement of knowledge is not a bad thing, but that advancement of knowledge is not meant to exploit. Maybe we would have used technology in a different way, in a non-polluting, non-exploitative manner. The purpose would have been different. Of course, people were satisfied in the Vedic culture because you don't need too much uh, technology, because the reason is, as I said, you have to be just, this place is meant to reform and to leave eventually, right? You don't need to change, you don't need so many machines. Why do you need it? You can use it, but it's not necessary. It was not necessary. It was not felt necessary. Rather, that human intelligence was used to understand soul and God. But when necessary, it was used also. They had missiles also, different type of missiles, not this kind of technology, but mantra-based technology and other things were there. But yeah, so point is that human intelligence can always be used, but not to unnecessarily aggravate, aggravate the desire to exploit. Not necessary. If it would have been for see, ultimately, you know the purpose. To achieve that purpose, is it necessary? If it is necessary, you would use it to the extent it is necessary, when it is necessary, and the way it is necessary. Otherwise, you may not use it, right? Like you can make this hall AC if needed, but if it is not needed, like fan is there, we can use it. But are we using it now? Because it's not needed, right? The point is, if we are using that technology in a way that enhances God consciousness, then it's fine. We might have used it. We are not against use of intelligence and use of, or even so-called economic development, but not at the cost of exploitation and creating so much suffering. Of course, it can be argued, it can be debated whether technological progress has made human life better. It can be debated. It's debatable, right? I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes either. All right. It should be purpose based. That's my point. Purpose based. Your purpose is self-realization. Then if it's helping, then use it. If it is not helping, then there's no need. Basically. Anything else? Any other? Online, anyone? Any questions? Yes. What's your name? Priyansh. How do you realize that the purpose is self-realization? Yeah. So you are asking how would that person realize? How do you know if something is going to bring you closer to Krishna, right? Well, Krishna supplies the intelligence. How do you know if something is going to help you progress in Krishna consciousness? I don't know how to answer this question. You will know by using your intelligence and using Krishna given, God given intelligence. Like we are using this mobile phone, right? And so many other technological gadgets and other things. Krishna is supplying the intelligence, you use it, and based on the result, right? Based on the result. By using it, are you enhancing your Krishna consciousness or are you going back? You have to check if it's useful, you use it. If it's not useful, it's creating more disturbance than benefit, then you discard it. You are getting 1 rupee worth of benefit and you are having 10 rupee worth of loss. What do you do? You discard it, right? So, for example, mobile phone may be used in Krishna service, but if it is distracting you, right, then better you don't use it. That's why for years I was not using a smartphone. I was just using small phone. But then when I realized that I'm able to use it without getting distracted, then again I'm using smartphone. And I blocked all the unnecessary apps and only the necessary ones are used. Right? So you should not be penny wise and pound foolish. That's it. Penny wise and pound foolish means you are getting benefit of 1 penny and you are getting loss of 1 pound. You are using mobile phone for preaching Krishna consciousness, but you end up watching pornography. Is that good? Better you don't preach Krishna consciousness and be pure, right? So you should weigh the options, whether it is ultimately helping you advance or it is ultimately helping you, or it is ultimately the cost is more than the benefit. When this is on the result, you'll understand. Okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Something in the chat. Sorry, you can go. There is one question in the chat I just wanted to answer. For such wonderful class. Oh, there's one important announcement. I can philosophically and logically prove to common people that only bhakti and Krishna consciousness can remove these miseries. How can it be philosophically and logically proved? All the stuff is there in Prabhupada's books and in the teachings of the acharyas and gurus. So that's the material that is available. Now it's up to you how smartly you use it. How smartly you use technology, your skills and everything to forward that purpose. So you have the resources available. You have the guidance also available. The only thing that is missing is intelligence to use it properly. Guidance is available, resources are available, purpose is available. Now what is missing? Intelligence. You use it and then you will know. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so this is an important announcement that some of you, especially Sukhdev Prabhu, he made some very big mistakes in the last few days. So, as a punishment to all those mistakes, I want to take a public action against him. Is that okay? Someone is very eager to see that happen. Okay. So the punishment is you have to read the Transcendental Diary by Hariswari Prabhu. I was just joking actually. He's doing such a wonderful job. So I already gave this in Mayapur, but again I'm giving it once again. Same thing. So this is Transcendental Diary by Hariswari Prabhu. I know he likes to read it, so Haribo. Wherever you put your foot, it should not go there. There may be foot rakte na. It is equal to floor only. And I got some other books also for all of you, very interesting books. This is Mahabharata, myth or history. Some evidences, historical evidences that it is not myth but history. So I think the author is some historian or something. It's in good research. And this is cosmology with various calculations and everything, very scientific, very mathematically very solid sound. But regarding eclipses, regarding so many things, calculations, how they are made. And also on friendships, nice book. And this is Prejudice of Brahadanga preaching. I mean to say experiences of book distribution. Those are interested in book distribution, practical experiences on book distribution. And yeah, that's about it. And of course, this Bhaktivinoda Institute publications, mysticism, science and religion. So these things will be available only for some time, for the next 2-3 months, after which Sukhdev Prabhu will take them to Indore for IIT base. So whoever wants to read, you only have a limited time to read these books. Okay, thank you very much, Hare Krishna.